I'm literally, for those that are taking their time today, I will share with you everything that I do on how I've been very successful with talking to for sale by owners, with talking to expireds, how I talk to past clients. I will share with you anything and everything. I'm going to ask you guys also to engage with me to put in, like, ask me questions, like, talk to me about a challenge or an objection. I will share with you my intro script, the first 30 seconds, and basically how I've been able, and it's going to sound very silly, but I wrote down, let's see, on my list here. There's literally 4 questions I ask. In the 4 questions, I'm able to decide whether or not, what direction, how I pivot, and their personalities in the 4 questions that I ask. So make sure that if there's a question you have, or like, say it again, I will role play. I will share with you my tonality. I will give you my chats. I basically, when it comes time for it, now some of you, I believe D, you were with me when I was down in Florida. I will share with you a little bit about it. I'm not going to go into the full detail, but it's very, very important to understand that doing this every single day is not like a rah rah. This is really exciting. I'm so happy that I get to make these calls every single day. It's not like that. So you have to have some purpose and energy. So a couple of things to go over that I have. Most of you know me. Most of you have been on my calls in the morning. For those, I've coached you. So I was just going through everything here and I looked at it. Sandy, Wendy, Karen, Amy. We got D, David, Claudia, Christian. Brian's one of my he's one of my past clients. He's down in Florida. So praying for you, buddy. I know you were down in that Fort Myers area where you got hit. Your daughter is still at home. So thinking about you as I know you went through that hurricane. So most of you, like I said, know me. Let me share with you a couple of the beliefs that I have on why I've gotten to this position and what I do. So I'm a very, very strong believer that you must understand yourself before you have the capacity to understand other people. All right. It's very, very important that you guys understand that is the first part of what we're going to talk about today, is understanding you as an individual. And I'm going to share with you a couple scripts that I have now. So the next thing that is very, very important after I say that you understand yourself before you can analyze other people is the faster you can identify. Okay. The faster you can identify one's personality, the faster you can make adjustments. That's what the New England Patriots were very good at this. They won, I don't even know how many years when they had Tom Brady, but they had the greatest record for a 10-year span, that they made the greatest adjustments at halftime. So why I ask a certain set of questions in the beginning is because I like to be able to figure out their tonality, if they're upset, if they've gotten a lot of calls, if they're happy, if they're like willing to have more conversations with me. In this case, it's very, very important to understand that you are able to figure out their personalities right away, right away. And when you're calling people you don't know, you only literally have about 10 to 15 seconds to make that decision. And then I immediately attack, and you will hear that shortly. I also think that it's very important that when you listen at a high level, the Emmett Smith says everybody is created equal. Everybody has the same opportunity, but some people work harder in the preseason. I 100% agree with that, because to me, the preseason is this. The preseason is before I pick up the call, that I'm well scripted. I've practiced. I've done everything I've done. So one of the things people ask me, well, Brock, how much should I practice? Okay. If you're wondering how much you should practice, you should be doing at least a minimum of 5 role plays a day. Each role play consists of no more than 10 minutes. All right. The next thing you should do is the scripts. And if you want the scripts, I will give you the scripts. I use the Mike Ferry scripts, the Jeff Glover scripts. Okay. I will imply my scripts into it. For those that said that they wanted my book, just make sure you put it in the email down below, and I will make sure that you get a copy of the book, and it will be a free copy for you for those that attended this session. changing scripts and turning scripts into conversations. So make sure you put your email in the chat because the chat is recorded and saved, and then I'll go back and look at it. But it's so, so very important that you take the scripts. All right. The thing that I tell you about the scripts is this. This is the hardest part. People don't want to do this, but I did this in the beginning. Jeff made me do it. Jeff Glover made me do this. You have to write your scripts out. Okay. You have to write your scripts out 5 times. All right. You got to do it 5 times a day for 10 days in a row. It's a pain. It's not fun. But when you go and you play football and you go into the NFL, they give you a playbook that's this big and you have to study it and memorize it, know it inside out and backwards. This is not any different, guys. You have to be able to know your scripts and you have to write them out 5 times for 10 days in a row. Then for the next 10 days, all right, for the next 10 days, you only have to write them out twice. But it builds that repetition inside of your brain on what you have to do. So I strongly recommend that you write these scripts out because it's going to be embedded in your brain, because listening, as I told you here, the more you listen, you can actually validate their conversation. One of the things I tell people all the time, one of the things that I say is, good afternoon, my name's Brock Zevan. How are you doing today? I'm doing really good. Well, I was just calling to see if your house is available. It is, but my dog died this morning and it's just been tough for my family. Oh, great. Are you co-broking with buyer agents? Like, do you understand that you can't say that? They're going to be like, you're a jackass, and they're going to hang up the phone with you, or they're going to tell you something. Like, do they curse? Yes. But they always don't curse. But if you don't be sincere and validate what they just, oh my gosh, your dog died? Ugh. How long have you had the dog? Boy or girl? Oh, it's like a family member. So you start to give empathy to the person so they can understand and get that feeling out of it. So it's very, very important. 2 key things that I would tell you that you need to take away from this. If anything, you have to understand yourself first before you can analyze others. And number 2 is you have to be able to validate them at an extreme high level that you're listening, not getting ready to write the next question. So since I can't see you all, if you guys can give me a thumbs up in the chat to understand that part. Like, you really, really, that's very, very, very important that most people don't start to think that. They're getting ready to go on to the next question. And the reason why is because they don't know what to say next, or they're trying to think of the next script. So does that make sense to people? Everybody get that? How we doing on the thumbs up? Awesome. Cool. Amy, you get it? David, you get it? You guys good with that? Awesome. Awesome. Now, let's go into this mode here. Yes, I don't know how to do a thumbs up. Okay. Thanks, T. I really wish I could do the video because it'd be so much more entertaining for me to be able to see you guys, but we're going to fight through this. We are going to fight through this. Now, I'm going to go back to I got pretty good at this the other day with screen share. When I was doing this, I couldn't find it either. All right. Now, did I do the right screen share? Yes, I did. So you guys see the screen share, the power of prospecting. Okay. I just did this on Thursday, and part of the power of prospecting is what I told them when I was doing this and I was speaking is you have to be able to remove the power. All right. And you got to cross out power and change it to purpose of prospecting. So Dee was there with me on Thursday when I shared this with everybody. And so it's very, very important that we understand that the purpose of prospecting is so important. And so before we dive into actually our names and understanding, it's very important that you understand why I do what I do. As I shared with you, is I need to understand myself. Okay. Wondering who I am. I'm a driver. I'm a D, and I'm a small I. Okay. Most of the time, for those that know me, I'm short and to the point. I typically, when I'm dealing with people and problems, I like to say, what is your question? And then you could fill it in. All right. A lot of people like to tell me a huge long story and then ask me the question. By then, I probably and I say this nicely, but it's you have to understand yourself. I don't pay, like, I pick and choose what I want to hear because my brain is already like, what is the question they trying to get at here? What can I solve? So I understand that I'm a D and I'm an I. I have very low S and C. So when I have those type of people I'm working with, I have to work harder on myself. I have to slow down. Wendy says it many times. She's like, I could tell you weren't paying attention. I said, was it that obvious? So now I have to pay attention even more, harder to be more into the conversation. Wow, that's amazing. Because my brain just is already ahead of it. It doesn't make one right or wrong or somebody's like in depth. Like there's many times Wendy will go to like an appointment and she's there for 3 hours. I'm like, it's like 3 hours. What could you possibly be doing for 3 hours? That would drive me insane. But that's part of the personality. That's the I that comes into it. So knowing who you're walking into, and that's why one of the things, if you don't have this, you need to get a pre-listing packet. Okay. I want you to know what the pre-listing you got to have a pre-listing packet, and you need to be able to pre-qual, not pre-qual meaning on the lending side, but pre-qualifying them as a seller when you're doing the listings. All right. And that's part of the Mike Ferry and Jeff Glover scripts that we have in there. And I will make sure that you have that as well so you can see it. I don't know if we'll have time today to get in the pre-qual. Maybe we will, but it's very, very important to understand the pre-qualifying, because here's the thing. My pre-qual is actually my listing and they don't know it. So I get they're not as defensive. They're not on the aggressive approach. They're more relaxed. Like, I'm like, you got about 10 minutes. I got to ask you a couple questions. Yeah, sure, man. What do you got? See, they're more low key and I can dive more into them. And so that's why my conversion rate is above 90%, because I already know what I need to say to them when I get there. All right. Claudia, I want to know what those letters mean. A, B, etc. You mean the DISC? I assume that's what you meant, Claudia. And we will go over each letter here very shortly. Yep, we'll go over that. So, got to believe, you got to understand. So, in a nutshell, what I've learned about myself is this: is I've been running for quite a long period of time, for the last 6 years. All right. Part of my purpose had to come into play. I've had a lot of challenges in my life. Okay. I have learned that you're either running towards something or you're running away from something. One of the stories I recently heard, well, not recently, I've heard it for a long period of time, but I was listening this morning on my run, that in Africa, there's two animals that wake up every single morning. There's a gazelle and there's a lion. And both of these animals have to get up every single day. And both of these animals will run. And when both of these animals are running, one animal is running away from something and one animal is running towards something. Needless to say, the gazelle has to get up every single day, and it cannot be the slowest gazelle because they know that the lion will get them. And a lion every day gets up and doesn't run from anything, and it runs towards gazelles. It runs towards whatever that animal is that they're preying on, and they go after that. That is the mindset that you need to have when you wake up in the morning, is like listening to, go to YouTube and put in there Eric Thomas, gazelle, and lion, and you will listen to this story. And so in my life, that I've learned is I've been running, but I've been running away from things for a long period of time. And so when I started to run towards something, when I started to take my fears and be like, Brock, you got to freaking do it, or you're going to find yourself either dead, without a family, or I was already financially in trouble, but like, you're going to be a disaster. And so, as you could see here, the challenges in my last 6 years that I had to fight through and go through being an alcoholic. November 1st, I'm pretty excited here, very shortly, I'll celebrate 6 years. I'm dealing with my divorce. I've been dealing with my divorce for over 3 years, finally getting to the end of it. I've had all my credit cards. I've even had to find credit cards because during certain parts of my life, I was running out of money. And so I would apply for credit cards and maybe they'd give me $300, $400. I would max them out immediately because I had no money. I had both my cars repossessed within 2 weeks, might I also add. It was probably one of my low points of my life because I was at an attorney's office where I was working in Huntersville, and the attorney came in and she says, "Hey, do you know your car is being towed?" And I knew immediately, I knew what happened. But I told her, I said, "Oh, yes, I have some issues with my car. It's not running right." So they had to bring it to they're bringing it to the shop. I'm going to go get it after. She says, do you need a ride? And boy, oh boy, if she knew she could go inside of me and like understand what I was going through. I was like in my mind, I'm like, you have no idea how bad I need a ride. Like I don't even know where my car is going. And that was the biggest challenge. Is like you don't know where your car goes when it gets repossessed, just to let you know. No clue. So I had to go find my car. So after that takes place, and I finally find my car and get rides, and at the time, my former wife Laura had no idea what was going on. So I'm trying to concoct story after story after story, and then literally after about 7 days, 10 days later, Laura calls me up and says, "Hey Brock, she's like, why is somebody taking my car out of the driveway?" And I knew right then and there. And I was like, I was near my edge of where I wanted to be in my life because I was like, I don't know what else I'm going to do. I just took all the money I possibly had to be able to pay for my car to get it out of the pound and then have another car go back into it. So that was a really tough time period because at the same time period, I was dealing with a lawsuit for embezzlement with a partner of mine for about $75,000 dealing with property management. I lost my real estate license all in 2019. I had DSS filed against me with my kids. And to have the police officers knock on your door and somebody come into you and ask you what type of father you are and say, I need to come in here and take a look at your house for the safety of your kids. For those of you that know my personality, you can only imagine that I wanted to wring the person's neck, which I figured probably wouldn't be a very good thing for me to do, trying to say that, oh, don't worry, my kids are safe here. So you have to understand, like, all these things are going inside within a short period of time. Like this all happened in the beginning of 2016, 2017. And then I was going through my lawsuit. And then I had $153,000 in IRS debt. Oh, part of the thing with my kids with the DSS and the police, do you know what it's like when the police officers come to your house, knock on your door, and your kids are there answering it? And you got to explain to them why the police officer has to give you a package. Like those are things that I will remember, but it's part of my purpose and what's got me to where I am today. So that's why it's very important. I had a defining moment happen in my life. And when I was with my former company, and during that time period of 2019, it was roughly the last week of June. I remember it to a T. And during that time period that I was going through this process, I thought the owner of the company, because this company is all done by its own previous, they're all franchises, and I thought he was getting ready to kind of say to me, "Man, you've had a rough year, and I just want to wish you a happy birthday." Like literally, that's what I thought he was going to do. During my year that I didn't have my real estate license, I had 6 people on my team. And within 6 months, I had to grow my team because the only way that I could make money was to be able to be a consultant. And I was able to hang my license down in South Carolina, which a lot of people, my haters, didn't know that I was doing that. They all thought I was taking money underneath the table. But I found a loophole to be able to carry my license in South Carolina. And that's how I was able to legally make money. But nobody cares about that. They just want to find ways to come sabotage you. So during that time period, in that defining moment, they tell me that I had to leave, and basically it was Keller Williams, and love the company, but that's where I was. So they tell me I had to leave Keller Williams. And I said, okay, well, what about my team? And they said, well, all 18 of them, they could stay here, but you would have to go. I said, wonderful. I really appreciate that. That's going to really help me out tremendously. And so I remember meeting offsite. Actually, Wendy was the team leader at the time. And I told her, I said, I was just told this, and I'm going to go meet at Aquesta Bank and have a conversation with the team because I got to let them know and to see what we're going to do. And so my defining moment is I had a conversation with them and we had a private ballot and we privately voted. And I said, here's your opportunity. You can either stay here. I can't be here. You can come with me. I really don't know where I'm going to go quite yet. I had an idea about EXP, but I really didn't have this plan inside. So we all met, we go to the bank, and then I came back to Keller Williams and I opened it up. And you can only imagine my surprise. Sometimes it makes me a little teary eyed and emotional. But all 18 people said that they wanted to go with me. And it was the best feeling in the world when I got to go back there and I got to go knock on the door and I got to tell them, I just want you to know that I appreciate it. And all 18 of us are leaving. So that was my defining moment where I understood that I had a gift in my leadership, and I was still in distraught motions and I was still going through a lot of things, but I started to have some more confidence. I started to build some faith in myself that I could do this. And I got really good at talking on the phone because the only way I could make money was I became an inside sales associate and I just started to make phone calls and I had to change my script. And I had to change the way that I was presenting things. So I called Rockerbox. I called ISA companies and I said, could I role play to hear what they sound like? And so I started to learn what these other companies, these ISAs were doing. So I could say the same thing because ISAs that you hire out, they're not real estate agents. And so I learned the scheme at a very, very high level. I learned how to be able to ask questions so it didn't sound like in case somebody tried to come after me because I had many people trying to, that I learned how to speak like an ISA. So in 2019, I became very, very successful at speaking as an ISA. And I say this not to impress you, but I didn't even have a real estate license. And I actually have my taxes to prove it that I made $287,000 without having a real estate license, figuring it out on how to be a really, really, really good ISA. And that's how the opportunity became really, it developed with me on how I started to prospect. So when I share this with you, I learn at a very, very high level how to set the skills with the disc. And I'm going to share that with you so you can understand. I literally grew from this to be able to orchestrate myself, to be able to make money, to survive, because I had to have a purpose. And what I learned was on the phone that people don't remember what you say. They may remember how you make them feel. And many times I even make them feel when I'm on the phone and I'm leaving voice messages so they can understand what it is that I'm saying so I can make them feel it like I'm right there in front of them. Like, man, I feel you, man. I feel no, I feel like we've known each other for a long time. That's what I try to create, and that's what I learned how to do. But I had to learn these scripts and I had to master them at such a high level. But here's the other thing, guys. You need to understand this part. You have to have a purpose behind it. You have to be able to take whatever it is. And I take different visions and I take different pictures and I put them in front of me. I have my kids in front of me many, many times because that's what drives me. Because when my kids were almost taken from me, so when people say, well, it's easy, Brock, you have your kids for your why. I was like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand what I went through on why my kids are my why. You don't understand to be broke like no other. You don't know what it's like to be literally negative in your bank accounts and every bank account and trying to figure out how I was going to buy money for diapers. That's a point in your life that I will always remember, but it puts me in a better position today because it gives me purpose to move forward. So today, when you see the screen over here, you see my kids. We went on vacation and I love taking them on vacation. But more importantly, I love the shirt Brielle wore. I had no idea she was going to wear that shirt. And when I took the picture and I was like, oh my gosh, Brielle, I cannot believe your shirt when it says living my best life. And that's what made everything to me because to take him on vacation and for just us three to go out there and to be able to go to the beach and to be able to go do things and to be able to, and I say this like financially, stay on the ocean front and go to events, go to places and be able to have that lifestyle and say, living my best life. That's what it means to me. What it also means to me is my support group. For those of you that know Wendy, okay, it's very important to have a strong support group. I've been in broken relationships, broken marriages. It's very challenging when your relationship, when your home life is not good. Don't think that it's magically going to change when you get into your work life. I use many times the example that if you have a hairline crack in concrete and you see it and exposed to all the elements outside, in 5 years, if you come back, how many of you think that crack is going to be magically fixed? Or how many of you are going to, like most of us, do you think that crack's going to get bigger? Do you think that crack's going to change? It's probably going to expand. So if you don't attack and approach your relationship problems, that's why I have a name of a life coach, because that's one of the things I talk about, is to be able to figure out your life and what's going on in your life, because you have to have support. For those that, when I was down there on Thursday, Wendy was supposed to be there, but I had my kids, my parents were out of town, their mother was out of town. And so Wendy says, I will watch the kids for you because coaching and speaking is your thing and you need to be there. She was my support to be able to get to help me get to where I am today. So you have to have strong support in your family, in your relationships, whatever that might be. And if you don't, you need to self-reflect. Trust me, I got plenty of drama in my family right now, plenty of drama. And sometimes I have to remove people in my life because they don't align up to where I want to grow and where I want to go. And some people are going to say, well, that's pretty mean, Brock. Well, unfortunately, I'm sorry. But to be able to operate at a very high level to do what we're going to do, you have to do this. That's why it's important that you guys understand that you have to have a purpose behind what I'm about to tell you. Because when I go through this and I share with you the D, the I, S, and C, we can have a little fun time and you're going to be able to do it. But when it's all said and done at 2:30, when the clock strikes zero and you're moving on to your next event of your day, you have to have something that's going to push you to work a little bit harder. And so last year, Wendy says, Brock, I've been wanting to get a pool. And I was like, okay. And I don't know, I'm from upstate New York. So when I think of pool, I'm thinking a nice little above ground. I knew kind of the layout of the back of the house. So I said to myself, I said, well, I'm sure she wants to do something a little nice. But as you could see what the pool looks like now, I had no intentions or visions of that, what it would look like. And to have her put this whole vision together, this pool, and then to have the conversation of like, well, how much does something like this cost? It was like, okay, all righty then. But you know what? We enjoy the pool now. The kids go to the pool. We get to see people swim and play. And last weekend, the kids were still playing in there because the hot tub and it's heated. But you know what? That's what you work for. That's why I make the phone calls. That's why I make the dials. That's why when I don't want to have conversations with people, I have conversations with people. That bottom right is where we're going for spring break. It's an all-inclusive private island with the cruise, got the tiki huts down there, and it's all in. Airport, everything else. This is why I do what I do, to be able to have experiences, that memories, to make people feel a certain way, and it happens to be my family. So I challenge you. Where is that? That is it's the Norwegian Cruise Line. I like to tell you what island it is, but I forget. It's their own island. They bought that island and then they made it into some paradise of what it looks like. But yeah, it's really nice. I learned all about it. It's like the day at the beach with the island and everything else. And so like that's what motivates me. That's what gets me going. Because money, guys, money does not buy you happiness. Money buys you choices. It gives you opportunities to do things, to put in a pool that you want to put in, to go on a vacation that you want to go into, to take your kids in places that you want to go. And my coach tells me, Michael Burt tells me, money is not the problem. It's people. We're not talking to enough people. And so I'm going to get into today. Does anybody have any questions for me? Anybody got anything they want to add, say, or anything? Because I'm about to dive into some more of the meat and potatoes now. I think it's very important that you understand my story, to understand my purpose, because prospecting without purpose is nothing, guys. You have to have reasons to be able to go out there. You have to have reasons to do what you do on a daily basis, to be able to go into the grind. Many people don't want to work my hours or get up at my hours. It's not fun. It's not fun at 4:35 in the morning. I don't got people cheering me on. Nobody was cheering me on my run today. Let me just tell you that. And my legs felt like freaking trees. But I told it on the call this morning. I said to myself, I just had to run 1 minute. I said, if I could just run 1 minute, I'll see where I am there. I ended up running 23 minutes, but I had to run 1 minute in order to get to 23. And that's what Sandy was talking about today, the stairs. You got to take one step at a time. And that was my one step is 1 minute. So today you guys are taking your one step. You're understanding, but you have to have a purpose behind your prospecting, because I could tell you the scripts all day long. But if you're not willing to put in the time to practice and learn them, and to be able to take them at such a high level, then it's pointless, because it's when nobody wants to make phone calls every single morning. Greg was just telling me now, he goes, there's not a lot of people answering the phone. Well, okay. Well, that means you got to talk to more people. You got to call more people. You got to get a dialer. And for those that want the dialer, I have Arch Agent. They give you out a free month. If you want that, you got to put it in the chat. Let me know. I'll give you my link. I partner with them and they'll give you a free month. It's the exact same dialer I use. All right. Anybody got any questions? Anybody got anything at all? Something they want to share? Because I'm about to rock and roll. All right. Everybody's quiet. Hopefully I'm not putting everybody to sleep because I can't see y'all. But hopefully everybody's good. Ready to rock and roll. Ready to rock and roll. Good, good, good. So in order to understand personalities, I told you I'm a D and an I. So the best way to be able to understand personalities, and for those that have microphones, please feel free to unmute yourself if you're in a position that you can. So that way we can add some conversation just to the piece, because I might be asking questions. You can just say it out loud. So when it comes time to understanding your personality, the D, the I, the S, and the C, the best way to do it is to be able to say that we're on a little trip, and we're leaving our house and we're going to go to the grocery store. All right. In order to go to the grocery store, we're going to go to a special grocery store, and it's in Charlotte. Okay. It's in South Charlotte. All right. Most of us live up north based off of what I see here. And for those that don't, Brian lived in Charlotte, so he gets it. And so this trip is going to take some time. And when we go to this grocery store and we're traveling over there, my S's and C's are probably going to be the people that they're not probably, they will go on Waze, then they will go on MapQuest, and then they will check out Google Maps or whatever else, the other map GPS systems that they have, and they will completely map it out. And they will make sure that if they had to be down and back in a certain period of time, they will know when to leave, when's the best time to leave, all the construction, and they will have everything that they possibly need during this drive. During the drive, they will also know all like the highlights of the road. They will check out Charlotte. They will see things. They will look at the construction. They will say, wow, I can't believe how fast things are growing and developing. Look at all the buildings and the sky rises and everything else. Not only do they have that, but in the passenger seat, I also will beg to guess that they probably have a shopping list that they've written out. They might even have it in alphabetical order. They have the shopping list in such a great way that they will also make sure that the shopping list is maybe even detailed enough where it's like, I don't know, broken in the aisles, because they know exactly how the store is lined up. All right. How many am I speaking to right now? Give me a thumbs up if that's something that's kind of like, oh my gosh, he's talking about me. Like, am I the only one he's staring at, even though I can't stare at anybody? Like, how many of you are like that? Karen, yes, yeah. You got to make sure it's detailed. Who else? Who else am I speaking to out here that's kind of like, I got to make sure. Yeah. Sandy, Christian. Mm-hmm. In this some extreme, we are getting ourselves like, okay, now some of you might be saying, well, I'm not that bad. How many of you are not that bad? Write it in the chat. Not that bad, or talk it out loud, like kind of, but not that bad. How many are you not that bad? D, okay. Claudia, not that bad. Anybody else? Kind of like, something like that, but not that extreme. Okay. Now, when we get to the grocery store, we're also like crossing things off. We're making sure everything's legit. We are good. Okay. In a nutshell, guys, you are an S and a C. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean it's bad, but S's and C's, this is very important. They make up 62% of society. All right. So it's very important to understand that they make up 62% of society. All right. Well, why is that important? Well, that means that majority of the people I have conversations with, in my mind, I'm preparing that they're going to be analytical. Okay. Now, 21% make up an I, meaning when I'm driving, I'm probably having conversations on my phone, telling them about my trip while I'm driving. Okay. Yeah, Wendy, that is me too. I'm on the phone quite a bit. And so I do talk to people constantly when I'm on the phone, but we're telling people about our story. Oh my gosh, you won't believe the traffic. Oh my God, look how you should wait. Let me take a picture and share this with you. Let me show this to you, right? How many, and then when we get to the trip there, we might even have conversations with some of the people that were there. We might talk to a couple of people in the aisle. Yeah, Amy, right? Okay. Talking to the cashier. You know how many times I talk to the cashier? I ask him, like, what time do you get off? Then I ask him, how many people, and I say, I don't say bitch, but I said, how many people complain about the prices of the groceries? Like, you went around and last night and changed all the grocery prices and jacked them up so you can make extra money. That one's always a funny one. They really laugh at that one when I say that, right? Okay. Only 9% are drivers. Okay. Drivers meaning the D. So Claudia, that's the D, 9%. So only about 9% make up of me. So I'm a high D, low I. Okay. And so it's very important to understand that, because here's what drivers do, guys. Same exact trip, same exact thing, routine, everything that I just gave you about going to the grocery store. But a driver has an idea inside its head, like, I think it takes 35 minutes to get to Charlotte. See, we don't even calculate traffic. We just think for us to floor it, going in and out of traffic. Wendy makes fun of me all the time because I get more bills in the Hove lane, or the paying the toll lane, because I'm constantly there, and her car gets the bill, and she'd be like, "Oh, Brock drove my car because now I got bills from the DOT," and so like I'm like, I just go in that lane. I don't care. I don't care how much it costs, because I got to get there. Every minute counts, because I didn't calculate anything out. And you better believe it. When I get there, somebody says, "Well, what are you getting here?" I'd be like, "I don't know. I think I need something. I have to get something for dinner tonight." And so I'm zipping in and out. And then I get there and I'm quickly going, being like, "Oh my gosh, all right, I got to race back because I need to get to my next appointment. And I got to do this because I probably put something right behind it, because I'm constantly going." And I'm probably, when I'm on the phone, I'm not really talking about so much of the traffic. I'm saying about appointments, or I'm already working on something. What do I need to do? What problem am I solving? Who's doing what? Where am I at? Right. And so, and Wendy, we're going to get to that, where she says, I used to be a high D and now I switched. And we're going to talk about timing. So it's very important to understand, like, I'm not paying attention to anything around me because I'm so pinpointed and laser focused. And I'm just like, what do you got? Now, do you think that's important to know when you're talking to people? It's very important. Once again, I wish I had video, but to see people's face reactions. So it's so very important that I wanted to be able to share with you how I'm able to figure out. But first and foremost, in order for you, I said to you, I believe that you must understand yourself before you can analyze others. So I want you guys to write down in your notes the Tony Robbins DISC assessment. Wendy just said it here. She says, I used to be a very high D, and now she switched. So is it possible, for those of you that are not on mute and have microphones, is it possible that you could switch? Is it possible that you can go from one to the next in a different season of your life? I'm going to force somebody to talk right now.
I'm equally IS.
Uh-huh.
When I took the disc the first time, and that was 7 years ago. I think
So,
I have a lot more D in me right now.
and that's exactly why I asked the question, is because you should take this test every 6 months. All right. I take it every 6 months. One is to see, like, I hope like, I don't like being a D. Like, many times the D is not very exciting, because your brain just thinks differently and it gets exhausting. Like, I'm mentally exhausted by the end of the day. But at the same token, I got to accept it. That's who I am. But I work with it. And so on Sundays, I take time off as much as I can. I try to hide my phone. I work on things just like we all should, personal development, personal growth. So if you taken it 7 years ago, you definitely need to take it today or tomorrow. So if you haven't taken it in the last 6 months, you need to take it now. Okay. Life's changed. Seasons happen. Relationships happen. Okay. Different things take place with our kids, our relationships with our marriages, work environment. So what I was last 6 months ago, I'm in a different mindset of where I am today. So that's why it's very important that you take it every 6 months. So strongly recommend that you can take it every 6 months. So with the disc, I'm going to get into now. Hold on a second here. Let me switch screens up. So we go into here and share with you a couple things. So can we see this? All right. This is what I learned. This is exactly what I learned from with Glover U. This is with my coach Jeff when I started with him about 8 years ago. And we have the driver, the expressive, the analytical, and the amiable. All right. And you could see their strengths: determined, objective, independent, persistent. The challenges: insensitive, dominating, seem to rush and be impatient. All right. Appears aloof and arrogant. Okay. Many times I always have to say, like, I don't mean to sound arrogant. I'm just trying to share something with you. Sometimes you got to be careful between arrogant and confidence. Okay. Can move too fast, careless. Okay, Wendy, let's make sure you're on mute when it comes time for that, right? That happens a lot. I lose my keys, I lose my wallet. So that's why I read Atomic Habits, is because I've gotten into a situation now where I built a habit on where I put my keys, where I put my wallet, goes right in the kitchen. I set it on, there's like this scale, and I put it right on there. It helps me keep track of my stuff because I seem to be careless, too fast. I'm already thinking of something else. And then I'm like, oh, shoot, where'd I put my keys? Okay. So it's important that you understand that. Expressive. This is the I. All right. Let me make sure I have my chat open. So in case anybody says the I. So you got the D and the I up top, and you got the analytical and amiable down at the bottom. All right. The analytical, as you could see here, guys, is logical, fast, fact based, dependable. These people drive me insane, drive me crazy. Okay. These people, I'm like, oh, dear Lord, please just make a decision. Like, this is painstaking for me to go through this process. But needless to say, I can't be like that. But what I do is, if I know that they're like this, and I know when my appointment is, you better believe it, I put in some touches beforehand so they can go through the objections, because my goal for my appointments is 45 minutes. I don't like being in a listing appointments more than 45 minutes. Neither should you. You shouldn't be there very long. Sometimes you have to because you got emotional and high eyes. But for the most part, I make my appointments 45 minutes. But analyticals drive me insane. So when I know that, I got to work with them on I got to work with those people, and I have to start sooner. All right. Amiable, cooperative, agreeable. Oh, I love them. It's just like, yeah, Brock, that sounds great. Tell me more. It's like, you got to keep them going. But those people are really, I love working with them. They're like, yeah, I'm going to be able to help out. Those are the people, like, what do you need to do with us with the house? We're willing to do whatever. We could take that. See, you want to be able to know, like, what are they willing to do to get the house sold in a fast, appropriate time, as well as the highest dollar amount. Brock, we're willing to do anything. Those are the people who are like, oh, thank you so much. All right. So does everybody understand, like, these people, this category that we have here is very important to be able to understand what that looks like. Now, when we're talking to people, how we understand them is very, very important when we're listening, to be able to put them in one category. So guess what question's very popular when you're when you're dealing with drivers, expressive, analytical, and amiable? Does anybody know a question that's typically asked when you're going into couples? Because most people are married when they sell a house, right? What's a question somebody might ask? Anybody know? Anybody at all? Okay. When you marry somebody, are they pretty much like, you ever hear the term opposites attract? Right. So who do I talk to when I'm going into these type of things? I always say I got to find the decision maker. All right. I play along with the other person to make them feel like I really care what they say, which I do, but I really don't, because they're not going to make any decisions. I got to focus on who the decision maker is. So if I'm talking to somebody on the phone and they're very chatty and they're very detailed and they're very like, oh my gosh, Brock, we just went to Lowe's and we just bought brand new appliances. I'm so excited. We got them on sale. And let me just tell you, the GE Frigidaire models, they were so, so good. I love them so much. And let me just tell you, Brock, we even got the owner manuals and we are going to have a party this weekend and I can't wait to use it and show it. Like, I know you're an I and an S. Okay. So an I and an S, to me, I'm figuring that the other person is going to be, their significant other is going to be a driver. And they're the ones that are going to be controlling the conversation. So the driver, I'm going to give pokes at while I'm at the table. And I'm probably going to say, well, is your significant other going to be there? Because you always need to make sure before you go to an appointment, will both decision makers be there? And I'm not going to get into sexist and all this gender reveal stuff. So what I've learned is say, well, the other decision maker going to be there? Is your partner going to be there? Because sometimes you don't know what you got. Excuse me. And you don't want to offend people. So all the decision makers can be there. So make sure you write that down. It's very, very important. Well, don't go on an appointment when there's just no, like, well, my husband's out of town traveling. Okay. Can he be on Zoom? That's what I asked. Can he be on Zoom? I don't know. Nobody's asked me. Yeah, it's very important that he's on Zoom. Okay. Or we'll have to wait till he gets back into town, because you're going to waste your time. You'll be excited. I got a listing appointment, but you're not going to it's not going to get signed, because they're going to say to you, well, this sounds great. I can't wait for my husband to get back to share him all this, or my wife to get back, like blah, blah, blah. Okay. Pointless. It's not going to get to what you need. So it's very important that you understand all decision makers are there and understand their personalities to be able to figure this whole thing out, because the significant other is usually opposite of who you're talking to on the phone. And you need to understand that when it goes into play. Does that make sense? Because that's very, very important, because we think we're all hot and crazy and everything's wonderful, but we might not even be talking to the decision maker. So does everybody understand that? Give me a thumbs up or say something on the video if you really understand that's very, very important. Got a couple people thumbs up. I'm trying to figure out. I know D doesn't know the thumbs up and Amy, so I get you. There you go. Good. Now, let's get to the next page. Share screen. So I'm going to break this down real quick, and then I'm going to get into my questions, and then I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what it sounds like. All right. And about 30 minutes left. Now, personality style. D, I told you about the drivers. All right. How to communicate. Less chit chat, the better. Okay. Drivers, to me, I'm like, boom. Do you want me to list your house? Yes or no? And it sounds mean when I talk to drivers, but drivers wants to know if get to the point. Don't be wasting. Can you sell my house or not? Okay. I like talking to drivers because they're on point, and I'm a driver. So why I said to you guys, it's very important that you know who you are, because you tend to react or tend to portray the person you are. So it's important to understand that. All right. You're going to see here, get to the point, high logic, low emotion. Like, they don't really care. They give a rat's tail on anything else. What are we going to do? What do we got? Like, you selling it? What's the price? Sounds good. Sign here. Sometimes when I go my listing presentation is broken up into 3 parts. The first part is I like a tour of the property. I don't sit down. I don't do anything. I get a tour of the property. The next part are the numbers. I go right into the numbers, and then I go into my marketing. why I do it that way is because if the numbers don't work, and this is very important in this shifting market, if the numbers don't work, there's pointless to go into my marketing. What do you think? The marketing is going to magically adjust the price? No. All right. So it's very important to understand, like when I'm dealing with the driver, yeah, can I get a tour of the house? Yeah. Like sometime take a look around. I'll be here down here on the couch. Okay. And I go really fast. I actually like that because it's so much easier. Right. The people that take forever are my eyes. It's like they want to show every part of the house, the analytical people. I'm like, oh gosh, I know what this looks like. I know what a room looks like, a kitchen, but you got to go through it. But that is the important part. If you're dealing with analyticals and eyes, I ask a lot of questions during the tour. Oh my gosh, you graduated from NC State? What year? Wow, did you play any sports? Oh, do you think your kids are going to go there? I start asking questions. I relate them. Okay. I'm building more rapport during those conversations of why I get the tour first. Then I dive in the numbers. If I got a driver, guys, listen, this is my number. What do you think? What were your numbers? I'll ask him point blank, what were your numbers? Do those numbers match what we talked about earlier? Because in my pre-listing packet, they already have a seller net sheet. So do you like my numbers? What you saw earlier today? What are your numbers? I'll call them out. What are your numbers? What do you find out? The drivers are arrogant. They're going to tell me, well, I did my research, tells me this is about right. Cool. Think we can make it work? I don't know. I mean, listen, if I can net you that dollar amount, that's the most important thing you told me on the phone. I can make that work. Sign right here. Let's get to work right now. I don't even get into some of my marketing because they don't want to hear it. Less is best when you're dealing with high Ds. Does everybody get that? Does that make sense to people with drivers? Remember, there's only 10%, 9% of them out there. So don't think all the time you have to worry about that. Right, Dean? Yeah, she just said totally. Right. So like those type of drivers, just they're very few and hard. There's not a lot of them. What you're going to be dealing with is going to be most likely, let's get to the eyes. Eyes, there's everybody with an eye, I feel, because, well, not everybody. There's some people who are freaking dry as can be, and you really got to fight through. How many of you been in a relationship, been on a date, or been someplace? It's like, oh gosh, this is like pulling teeth. I cannot wait to get done this conversation. Like, I don't even know how I'm going to deal with this, but you know what? At 3% for 400,000, I will make up conversations, right? How many been in that position? Like we just talk up. I have like things I talk about, like makeup stuff, weather, sports, kids, pets. Like those are my go-to that I'll have, and I'll find something in their house to even engage in a conversation that's still like pulling teeth. But you gotta be ready, for dry type of people. So eyes, they don't shut up. They are just constantly like I have to like shut them off. All right. At one point, I will share with you when I'm with dealing with eyes and I'm getting a tour of the property. Like I lead the tour of the house. I don't let eyes lead the tour of the house because they corner you in, they sabotage you in the corner, and you can't get out. And you ever go in, and like people go in a bedroom first, and then you're like walking in towards a closet, and then they hoard the door. They're standing at the door, like they're like the doorkeepers, and they just talk and talk. You're like in a room for 30 minutes trapped, and you're like, this is the freaking like first bedroom. I'm never gonna get out of here. Right? Anybody got that happen to you? Like that is the worst position to possibly be in. So like when I'm in that, like I literally will poke my head in. Oh, that's a great bedroom over there. And then they might say, "Well, did you see this?" And then they'll go in the room first. And that's how I get them in the room first, because then I'm not trapped. Then I could be the guard dog or the doorkeeper. Oh, I didn't even. Oh, wow, that is a very nice closet. Like who cares? But you have to. Wow, that is great. I love that. Wow, you put all your kids' clothes in there. Oh, wow, you do fit a lot of them in there. But see, I can escape to go out the door, right? I can escape quickly to go. But that's what you got to do in order. If not, you're going to be there forever, guys. I don't make any money like, oh, we're going to give you bonus money, Brock, because you stayed there an extra 45 minutes. So it's very important to understand positioning when you're going through a property. Like there's a science behind this. I figured it all out. So that's what I do when I deal with eyes. I'm getting a tour of the house, but I'm engaging with this. But the eyes, they'll talk to you all about it. Now, eyes, guys, I will tell you this. I will ask them to be like, hey, tell me a little bit more about the property. When did you have, can you go back to the previous page? Yes, I can. So when you're dealing with the I's, you want to make sure that you're engaging with them. Tell them about the party. Tell me about the gathering that you have. What's so important about the house? What made you buy this house? Okay, I do a top 10 and I give them to my client. And I say, hey, during the top 10, man, it sounds like you had some phenomenal parties here. Share with me a little bit about that in the top 10. Wow, because I'm separating myself. Because how many other people on this call here? Does anybody else have a top 10? I have a top 10. So that way I make sure that there's something there that I can separate myself from other people. Any questions? I'm going to move on because I got about 25 minutes. All right. So we have the I's. They look for personal growth opportunities. Figure out how to better manage time. Yeah, trust me, it's terrible. It is not good. Slow down and take a deep breath. They're constantly going. It's anyways. But I love I's. They're great, but they're going to be there forever. Now analyticals. Here we go. Analyticals are very detailed. You'll see how to communicate. Show sincere interest in their interest. Okay. This is what happened in my previous relationship. I didn't, and I'm not proud of it, but I didn't show very good interest. Like I was just like, yeah, whatever. I didn't validate. So communication was always a problem. Guys, why this is so important to understand your personal life is because if I know communication is not something good, people all on the phone here might say to me, Brock, I think you're a great communicator. I've had to work on this, guys. I've had to work on being an S, okay? Just to really even emphasize it right here. I had to work on this. I had to work on being an S. It was not exciting time for me. I have to be like, hey, tell me a little bit more about that. Wow, that sounds great. Okay, so you just put this in here. Wow. What store did you go to? How did this come into play? Blah, 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 blah. But I have to be involved with that because look at show sincere interest in their interest. Don't force quick responses. One of my favorite questions. Write this down, right? Write this question down. What price point won't you go below? My favorite question. What price point won't you go below? And I will sit there with crickets, right? Agents hate awkward moments. They hate it. But it's so important to be able to ask that question because you need to know where you are. Builds confidence, right? Ask how questions. Never interrupt and listen intentionally. Oh, let me go back to it. Ask how questions, and I'll give you a copy of it. For those that want it, just put it in your, just tell me you want a copy. If those that want Arch Agent, but say I want the Arch Agent link, and those that want the copy of this, I'll give you a copy of this too. All right. So just understand, like, never interrupt, listen intentionally, make sure that you understand that you are paying attention to them and listening to their needs. Show appreciation for their acts of kindness, right? Drivers, we don't care. We're just like, what? I don't care. I mean, come on, dust yourself off. Let's go. So these are all things that I've had to work on. And when I had no license except for South Carolina, guys, I had to become very, 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 very good at this because my efficiency of time was so very important because I had to be able, basically, I wasn't ever able to make 100% commission because I wasn't an agent. So this was all very important to me to understand how to be able to relate with people. Okay. And we got any questions on S's? C's. Does anybody know the richest people, what the personality is for the richest people? Anybody know what that is? You can put it in the chat. What letters make up the richest people in society? Anybody know? It's 2 letters. Anybody? Anybody at all? D and C. Yep. Very good, Christian. A D and a C make up your rich. They're the rich people because they're drivers and go-getters, and then they're really good with money. They're really good with details. They're making, wait a minute, hon, seriously, why did you buy that at the grocery store? You know that's 50 cents more we could have gotten the other store brand. Like, why did you do that? Well, I don't know. This year we're going to probably cut back on a couple things. So our D's and our C's are very, very, these people We got to be facts and figures. Seller net sheet is given to the detail. I am working with the seller net sheet and I'm making sure, right? They're detailed oriented. They're perfectionists. Okay. Like they'll tell me in the contract, I'll tell Lori, excuse me, my transaction coordinator, I'll be like, Lori, this is a high C. Like, please make sure there's no problem with the contract. Right? You think that's important when you're talking to your transaction coordinator? They're human beings. They will make mistakes. But if you tell them they're a high C, they will be attentional to the contract to make sure everything is perfect. Because if they're not, I know a C will start to doubt me. And if I have an error in the beginning of the contract, so help me, they will be meticulous from that point on. So I'm very detailed in the very beginning to make sure we got everything in order. I'm very detailed to making sure that the pictures are right on time. I will make sure that I will always go to my pictures. Keith does our pictures, but like we make sure everything is on point. I get there to turn the lights on. I tell them why I turn the lights on. I tell them why I turn my lamps on. I'm very detailed. And as soon as I know that they are detailed, I'm detailed freaking McGee over here. Very detailed on everything. I'll bring even a notebook around and I might be writing down what I have to get the kids for soccer practice, or I might be writing my grocery list, even though I don't write grocery lists, but I would be writing something down because they love seeing it. How many of you can't stand it when you go to a restaurant and you got about 6 people around the table and the waiter's like, all right, we ready to order? Right? How many of this has happened to you? Right? We get ready to order and we're like, all right, I like to get a hamburger, medium, lettuce, tomato. Oh, no onion, please, ketchup, and yeah, my sides. And I start telling them all this stuff. And they do this. Yep. All right, cool. Got it. Yep, got it. All right. And what about you? I'm like, bud, you are gonna mess up my order. All right. I'm hungry. I don't want to come back with chicken with hot sauce on it, bud. Like I'm thinking this guy is freaking messing up the entire order. Why? Because I didn't write it down. So when I have analytical people that are detailed, guys, I bring a piece of paper and I just start writing stuff down. Oh gosh, yes. Oh, 2,600 just in the basement. Wow. Let me write that down there. And the hot water heater, and you did that to it? Oh, man, and you're saving how much? Right? You're saving how much money on you because I'm asking him numbers because he's analytical. Right, Greg, rinse and repeat. It's same thing. Here we go. Here we go. But that's what they you see, fear of change, fast moving situations. I got to slow it down. So how do I do that when my tour will be a little bit longer? My number conversation will be a little bit longer. But once I get to the marketing, my marketing is like, all right, we're going to market your house. We're going to get it up and running. We're going to do it on MLS. We're going to do professional pictures, drone shots. We're going to do it all. Our SEO work's going to be in here. We're going to do, our boots on the ground. We're going to really take it, our dials. We're going to make sure that we're good. Okay. I'm not as detailed in that aspect of things to some capacity because numbers are very important to me. And I built a detailed relationship in the beginning. So they know at that point that they're going to get taken care of. You can't do it the other way. You can't start off hot and heavy and fast and try to go to detail. Just like my waiter can't come back. Oh gosh, Brock, I messed up a little bit. You think you messed up? Like I know you're going to mess up, but I should have told you to write it down. Like that's how I think. It's too late at that point. So you got to get details quick and got to show them you're detailed oriented. Go to the dollar store. These are all at a dollar store. Just get notebooks, make them feel that way. These are little things, guys, that make a difference when you're going into listings and you're trying to get them. Now, how many of you are ready for my 4 questions? How many of you are ready for them? Give me a thumbs up or something to make me feel excited because I can't see anybody. I'm telling you, this non-video stuff. I could tell you if I could do this, I could do webinars and videos, or I could do this anywhere, talking to myself. All right, we're all ready to roll. Here are the questions, and my questions aren't very exciting, so don't get mad at me, but they tell me all the answers I need to. Give you my script. Ready? My script starts off with this. whatever time period it is, good morning or good evening. Sometimes during the evening when I make my calls, I say good morning. And then I even tell them, I even joke around about it because I immediately become real when I get to joke around about them. But my scripts when I call in the morning sound like this. Good morning. My name is Brock Zevan. I'm a local real estate agent. Very important that you understand tonality. Good morning. My name is Brock Zevan. I work on that very, very importantly. If your name slides in together, you have to separate and you have to slow it down. We say our name all the time, so it rolls right off our tongue. It's the first time they heard it. If you start to hear people say that again, who are you? You're saying it too fast. Okay. Hello, my name is Brock Zevan. I'm a local real estate agent. I always say local real estate agent. It doesn't matter where in the world I'm at. I'm always local because I don't want them to hear the real estate company name that I have. Why is that? For the sake of time, I'm just going to tell you. The reason why is they could have a pre-existing experience with the previous company that I don't need them to carry that into the conversation. Meaning, I'm at EXP. If they are with the previous client or an agent or a friend that were EXP and they screwed them over, guess what they're going to think I did? I'm going to do. It's previous experiences based off of today's decisions. They're going to think you're a jackass too. So I always say I'm a local real estate agent to give me an opportunity to earn by having conversations. Good morning. My name is Brock Zevan, local real estate agent. Here's the question. How are you? Okay. I told you guys are going to be thinking like, no, seriously, Brock, what is, no, it's how are you? Good morning. My name is Brock Zevan, local real estate agent. How you doing today? I am listening very, very intently right now on how they respond to that answer because it's going to set the stage on where I go with my next conversation piece. Okay. Do they ever ask during the conversation? Now, this is a point period, guys. I'm going to tell you to engage. Turn your microphones on to be able to listen, and you can ask me any question you want because we got about 15 minutes, and it's going to be about these 4 questions and objections. So feel free to chime in. Do they ever ask during the conversation? What do you mean? Oh, do they ask me how I'm doing, or what do you mean by that, Amy? I don't know if she's got her audio on or not. I don't know what you mean by the conversation. Do they ever ask during the conversation? So if you get to the chat and type it in, let me know and I'll go back to it. But this is where I'm asking like how they're doing. I want to know how their tonality is. Okay. People who've been getting blasted with the phone, they will meet, what do you want? They'll tell me, oh, another real estate agent. Oh my gosh. And I'll be like very like normal. Oh, ask what company you are. Sorry, I can't unmute myself. Oh, if they ask me, I'll tell them. Any question they ask me, I will tell them. I just try to keep as much in so they don't have any pre-existing conditions that I want to reduce that as much as possible. So when they do ask me, I'll tell them. Right. So when they say that, I'll just say, awesome. Or if they're been, oh gosh, how many phone calls have you had? A lot. Oh my, like a lot, meaning like 5 or 55, 2 extremes. Okay. I'll say this. Greg hears me all the time. Wendy hears me all the time. They think it's comical. 5 or 55. Well, no, it's not 50. Oh, okay. Is it 30, 20? Like I will like get into their like figuring out how many conversations that they had because I'm catching them off guard. Why? Because most people probably aren't asking them these crazy questions. Well, I don't know, 17. Okay, 17. All right. What time period? Like, do they start earlier? Because now I'm trying to see if they're a driver. A driver's going to get pissed. Be like, man, what the hell do you want? Right? Now I got what I know. I push them to figure out their personality. Okay, I got a driver on my hand. Yeah, man, I just want to know, are you selling your house or what? What's going on with it? How long are you going to keep it on the market for? So I'll quickly go to a driver mode and I will come attacking now because he wants to attack me. Not a problem, but now I'm talking the way he actually wants to be talked to. Do people understand that? Because that is very hard to do. And that's why practicing and role playing 5 times a day is so very important because I quickly have to shift to a driver mode And I have to get into that. Now I go to a driver mode because that's what everybody stereotypically thinks. They mostly aren't not driver mode. They're emotional and they tell me how bad and miserable it's been with all the phone calls. So I got to go into empathy mode, which is typically an I and an S. An I and an S make up majority of society. They make up about 75% of the people out there. So I know I'm dealing with I's and S's. So first question is, how you doing? I'm listening to how they respond. I'm giving them empathy. I'm going into it. Now, question number 2, I validate. Awesome. That sounds great. No, I appreciate it. Sounds like you're having a good day today. Well, listen, I wanted to ask you now, if I'm dealing with a FSBO, my question is your home still available? Is it still active? If it's expired or withdrawn, my question is, are you still selling your home? Okay, I'll repeat the questions again. FSBO, question number 2, FSBO, is your home still available? If it is an expired, are you still selling your property? All right. Everybody good on question number 1 and question number 2? They're either going to tell me, yes, it's still available, right? Sometimes if it's a really nice home and if like when the market's starting to shift now, is your home still available? So I purposely do this, actually. Good point here. I didn't even realize this. My purposeful when they say, now is your home still available? It's a beautiful home. It's probably already sold. Right? I say that on purpose, like making them feel dumb. Like your house must be sold by now. Right? Okay. I'm done. I'm doing that purposeful. Oh gosh, that's a beautiful home. Is it still available? It's probably not. No, it is still available, actually. Oh, wow, it is. You must have gotten some offers then on it. No. See, I'm setting them up and they have no idea. Like I'm making them feel like, why isn't your home sold? Meaning I'm setting them up like, okay, you need help. I'm here to help you. Indirectly, that's what I'm putting inside their head. Now, if I still say, are you still selling? I'm trying to figure out at this point here, like, do they want to go through this again? What is their energy level like? Are you still selling? I'm listening to see like, yes, we need to sell, or, oh no, our previous agent was god awful. Oh gosh, that is terrible. Like I'll validate whatever they tell me, but I'm getting a temperature of their timing. Does that make sense to people? Give me a thumbs up if it does. Once again, it's so hard with no video, but hopefully you're engaging with this. Figured if I could do it by staring at myself, I should be good at this. Does this make sense to people? This is, guys, these questions will help you tremendously, but you got to practice it just like this, right? Now, question number 3. Question number 3, if you are a FSBO, I say, are you co-broking? It's very important you say that word. Are you co-broking? Most of the time, does anybody have an idea why I say that? Why I say, are you co-broking? Any guesses? There's no wrong guess. All right, I'll just tell you. The reason why
I'm
what's
sorry.
That? No, go ahead, Claudia.
Co-broking should be something related to if they are willing to work with a real estate agent. If they are willing to work on commissions or something like that.
Yep. Now I want you guys to dive deeper. So my questions are built on diving deeper. Okay. I love your response, but that's a surface type of thing. I want you to go deeper. Willing to work with an agent? Yes, Amy's got it right. Plant seeds in their mind. They don't know what it means. Some of them don't know what it means. So I'm trying to figure out their knowledge of real estate because like, I don't know what co-broking means. Excuse my language, but basically I'm thinking to myself, all right, I got a dumbass. This one should be easy. Like these are the games I play inside my head because I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to win them over. All right, this guy has no idea. Co-broking, you don't even know what the hell that is. All right, bud, let me just tell you. I'm about to school you right now is how I think, right? Oh, co-broking means I want to know if you're going to pay 3% commission to the buyer agent when I bring you a buyer. All right. I'm going to get a little bit assertive in here to tell them, like, you don't know what you're doing with me. Like, I'm a professional in this field and I will eat you alive if you don't know what you're doing. And other agents will do the same. Okay. Mindset, guys, is so very important. But then I'm going to control to see where he's going with me and how much he knows. So I'm trying to figure out how much knowledge he knows. If they immediately say co-broking and they give me the answers, I'm like, all right, this guy knows, he's done some information. What personality might I be dealing with right now? Put it in the chat. What personality might I be dealing with? Somebody does their homework, did the details, looked up the information. Yeah, C. A C is now I'm thinking, all right, I got a C on my hand. Guys, this is the game. It's just a game to be able to play, and they have no idea that they're even playing in it. And that's why people say, well, it's unfair to have conversations with you. Well, it's not my fault. Sorry. I just studied this so well that I'm like, okay, I got an analytical person here. I got to be ready to give numbers. So I always know numbers of 3% of the purchase price going into it. I have a roundabout answer. So I always will know where 3% is on the purchase price when I'm going into my phone calls. It's very, very important because I know that at least 50% of the time there's a chance that I got an analytical person, a high C. So I got to know commissions. Because if they tell me, yes, I'm willing to co-broke at 3%, in my mind, I'm already halfway there. I just got to show the value. If it's a 400,000, I got to show value of about 12 grand. And I'll start to say that. So question 1, how are you doing? Question 2 for FSBOs, is your home still available? For expireds, it is, are you still selling? Question number 3, are you co-broking for a FSBO? And question 3 for an expired is, are you interviewing agents? That's my question. Are you interviewing agents? I say the word interviewing because most of them haven't heard that before. Interviewing. How did you pick your last agent? That'll be another question. What made you choose that agent? Now, I put here in my notes, knowing the percentages. Like I told you, it's very important to know your percentages and what you got, where your numbers are. All right. So if I have to give value 12,000, I also know that I can cut a 0.5% on the buy side. So on a $400,000 house, that's 12 grand. I'm dealing with $2,000 on a 0.5%. So I know someplace between $10,000 and $12,000 I can work with. So I got to add value. So let me ask you, sir. So here's question number 4. So I'm going to get into number 4. So here are my 4 questions. I ask these all the time. Number 4, if I can net you that amount you're looking for, would that interest you? This is for FSBOs. If I can net you the amount you're looking for, would that interest you? Now, I say it in many different ways depending on the personality. So if I have an analytical person, I might say to them, man, if I can make you $10,000, would that interest you? Same conversation, same exact thing, but I added a number because he's analytical. Right? Now, if it's an expired, my question is this. If I can make that happen, would you meet with me? Because see, they've already had the experience and typically they're carrying negativity. So now I want to come, like, if I can make that happen, would you meet with me? See, I'm bringing energy, bringing an opportunity. All right. They just went through a lull. Most of the time, expireds probably have not been communicating with their seller in a period of time more than 30 days because they're like, I don't know what else to sell the house. They're not going to do a price improvement. So what they do is they go hide. And so in that case, I want to bring energy. Well, if I can make that happen, would you meet with me? Just for 30 minutes, at least share with you a little bit about what I got. Worst case scenario, you might be able to take it and give it to the agent who didn't sell your house. I say that too. Okay. So questions real quick. FSBO. Good morning. My name is Brock Zevan. How you doing? Oh, sorry. Good morning. My name is Brock Zevan. I'm a local real estate agent. How you doing today? Great, grand, wonderful, blah, blah, blah. I was just calling to see is your home still available? Is it active? Oh, it is awesome. Awesome. That is great news. I didn't know with this market anymore. Now, are you co-broking with buyer agents? Okay, they're going to tell me whatever it is. Awesome. Okay. Now, if they don't give me a number, I will say to them, all right, now you're doing 2.5%, 3%. I'm pretty sure not doing 4%. If I got an I, that's what my conversation sounds like. No, Brock, we're only going to do this. Okay, great. Now, let me ask you this. If I was able to net you that same dollar amount, would that interest you at all? If I was able to take $10,000 and help you out with that, would that interest you? Okay. That is my questions typically in the first 30 seconds dealing with the FISBO. That helps me tremendously build a rapport. Now, it is 2:29. All right. Hopefully, maybe this went by fast for you. I don't know. With my unique webinar with no video, but I want to open it up to questions. Okay. The engagement factor, I got to do a better job of that. But I want you guys to ask me some questions here to really dive deeper, to pick my brain on maybe some objections or how I handle something, or something like, man, Brock, I was hoping you were going to tell us this. Okay. Sometimes it's very simple and it's like, no, it's really not that complicated. You have to dumb it down. Someone share with me something that they liked, or a question or objection here. FISBO question. Greg asked, are you just trying to list my house? Very good question. Answer is yes. I'm a listing agent and I call FISBOs and expireds and withdrawals every single day. I'm very good at listing homes. I'm a listing consultant and I love to interview for the job. Are you hiring? I point blank tell them. Buyers are people who call and give them some song, skit, and cheer and tell them, oh, I got buyers, I got this. Like, you're just lying to them. Any intelligent person, when you get out there and you're like, hey, so I wanted to share with you my listing paperwork here. What do you mean, bud? You don't even have a buyer? I thought you told me on the phone you have a buyer. You told me you got some people in your wheelhouse. What are their names? Who are they? They'll call you out on it. They're smart people. So I completely tell them, no, I'm calling to list your house. I feel very confident. I'm a listing consultant. I've been doing this for many years. I call people all the time and I love to be able to interview for the position. Good question, Greg. We do get that. It drives me insane when agents try to go the buyer route. Don't do it. Who else has something or something that they were able to take away from this? You turn your microphones on. I promise this will be fun. I don't bite. I know I have a D personality, but I do care. This is my I coming out of me. Like, how'd I do? What do you guys think? What can I help you answer? I see Dee's microphone. She's ready for me. She's ready for a question.
My thing is, and this was great information, especially how to start the process.
Mhm.
I just, with the ones that I have called, I've just done me. But this is actually much faster to get to the point. But once I guess, what are some of the experiences that you've had that kind of tripped you up? Like, why, I guess one of the questions would be, why would I want you as an agent?
Sure, which is a very good value proposition that you need to make sure you can answer. The biggest misconception is people think that the longer they're on the phone, the better their chances are. I don't really agree with that, because they could just be freaking talking your ear off and you're wasting your time. The only way you could stay longer on the phone, which I agree to, is you're constantly asking for an appointment and they keep telling you no. Now, if they keep telling you no, yet they're still on, that means you still have a chance. But if they're just talking to talk, like, you got to be like, oh my gosh, my kids are calling me. The school called me twice. I got to go. Like, that's a script I have to get out of phone calls, because I'm like, this is going nowhere. I'm wasting my time. So you want to be able to have scripts to get out of phones. But, hey, I know you said this and da da da, but how about Saturday? I think I can get you. Come on now. You'll meet me Saturday. So I'll continue. So just don't think because I'm talking to a long period of time that I'm getting anywhere. It's got to be constantly asking them, can I get an appointment? Can I meet with you? Can I give you value? Could I give you my email address? Could I get your phone number? Blah, blah, blah. The biggest challenge I have was in the last 2.5 years that they didn't need us, because they were able to sell their house on their own. So I had FSBOs were very, very hard. I think FSBOs are really going to be booming again. They already are. I think it's very important to understand like who you should be talking to right now, and for sale by owners are good. Expireds are going to be very challenging because if you're not good with handling price improvements, they're gonna eat you alive, because their price is when they listed it 6 months ago, 4 months ago, and they're expecting the same price. And we all know that if we go in and say, well, the market is different, they're not going to want to hear that. So you got to have thick skin and be able to have a really good plan of action if you're going to call expireds right now, because their mindset is 4 months ago, 5 months ago. So really the biggest challenge is nobody picks up the phone. It's really their expectations are not where they need to be. And so it's a numbers game, as we all know, but FSBOs, call FSBOs. They're going to need you. Society cannot last more than 10 days, I feel, with negativity. I mean, we can't even last 10 minutes typically. Pain. We're always trying to find the path of least resistance. These people are the same way. They get through 2 weekends and their house isn't sold. But don't think you're going to go back 10 days and magically jump in front of the person who's been calling them for the last 10 days. That's the reason why you call them immediately, is you're immediately building rapport. And I say, I know you want to try it on your own, but when the pain gets to a certain level, do you mind if I follow back up with you? That's a script. That's why I call them on day 1 and day 2. All right. I don't wait 10 days, think I'm going to get ahead of somebody like me who's been grinding them every day and be like, oh gosh, this this guy on the phone was amazing. Now, sometimes it happens, but for the most part, you're still going to have to compete, because they're going to give that other person an opportunity, because S's and C's are loyal. This guy's been talking to me for 10 days. He gave me a note card. He came to my house. He gave me a value proposition. He texted me a report card. Like, those people, they're going to be there. You're up, you got an uphill battle. So you got to be really, really good. All right. So, that will be my biggest challenge. My other thing I'll tell you, I have a 5-touch program. So the minute I talk to somebody, that's my first touch. I want to have 4 more touches before I get to my appointment, because it reduces the chance of somebody canceling on me, right? Because I know majority of people are S's and C's, 62%. They are loyal, as you saw here on the signs. They're loyal people. So they will keep my appointment. Honey, we can't cancel on Brock. I mean, he's given us this and just done this. Like, we got to at least hear him out. And that's all I can hope for. So I do a 5-touch program. First call, I send them a text message, then it's an email, and then it's my my pre-qual, and then it's my confirming I'm coming to see you. So that is my 5-touch program. I'll say it again for those taking notes. My initial call, it's a text message about me, about my maybe my report card, which is my RPR. And then I'm setting up my next appointment, which is my pre-qual with them, setting that up, confirming that. And then it is the pre-qual, and then it's confirming the appointment. 5 touches before I go to my appointment. I'll go with D, because she just asked, and Claudia. So D asked in the chat, what is a script for price change in the market? My script is done literally at my listing presentation. I already have my prices right then and there, which is typically on my seller net sheet. And I say, I really want to start here. Most people get really excited because that's where they feel that the market is. I'm willing to start here, but we have to have a price improvement plan. And I want to start talking about that now, because as the market shifts, we need to be prepared for it. So here's my price improvement plan. We'll start here. I would go to here in 10 to 12 days. And then within 30 days, we have to get to this price point. Is this a number you're willing to go to? Does that help you out, D? But my price improvement is done at the listing presentation. What is on your pre-qual you mail? So I will send to you guys my pre-qual. It's the same one I use with Mike Ferry. I have a rapport. I will give you, it's like a play sheet. I don't go 1 through 12. I actually have it broken down. I think it's question number 1, then I go to question number 7, then I go to question number 2, and then I go back to 6. It's all done on purpose to be able to get them to what I need to hear from them. I will send you my pre-qual. In my pre-listing packet, it is my RPR report. It's a realist report. I send them over the contract. They get the residential property report, the MOGs. I send them over a seller net sheet. Yes, the seller net sheet. It is very important to send them over the seller net sheet. I send them over some testimonials. And we also have my listing presentation packet. I will send to you guys. Office is that. And for those that have to go, I understand. I typically do Q&A at the very end, just so that way, if you want to be on, you can be on. And for those that got to go, you can go. Uh-oh, where did it go? Oh, here it is. Sorry, I'm just trying to. All right, that is not working. I was going to show you guys. Where did my website go? Okay, looks like I need to work on this, but in my website, it has, and I'll send it to you guys, but it has my listing presentation, and it's also via on a text, so I can text it to them, email it to them. It's 37 pages, so I don't like to print it out. I print it out if I already have the appointment, it's locked in because it is part of my listing packet. But you know, if you want, what I'll do is I will add that since. What is it that I'm sending you guys? You guys got the pre-listing packet or the pre-listing packet. I'll send you over. I'm also going to send you over the pre-qual. I will send you over my FSBO and expired script. I will add you to my book. What else was I sending you guys? Is there anything else? Somebody thinks of it. Oh, and I'm going to send you over the disc, all my PowerPoint here, disc PowerPoint. All right. So Claudia, how do you get to that level if you do not have enough experience? So the best way to tell you and the worst way to tell you is practice, and you have to practice much longer than anybody else. Larry Bird used to practice 1,000 free throws before he went to practice, before he even started practice. So 1,000 free throws, I don't know how long it took him, but I'm pretty sure it was more than an hour. So you gotta role play. When I was in my game and I was role playing an extremely high level, I probably was role playing about 30 to 40 times a week. I was constantly role playing. I wanted to know every single possible question, tonality, personality, anything you possibly could throw at me, and understand personalities and how to get myself out of it, from people cursing and yelling at me to practicing calling you back. My script is when somebody hangs up on me, I call them back and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We either got disconnected or you hung up on me. I'm not too sure which one, but it doesn't matter. I want to be able to help sell your house." That's a script, and I'll call people back. I got scripts on leaving voice messages, how I leave voice messages. When I leave a long one based off of what I hear on their voicemail. If they're long and lengthy, I leave a long and lengthy voicemail. If they're short and sweet, I give a short and sweet. If I only hear their number on a voicemail, I'm very short and sweet. They don't even have the time to leave a voice message, so that means they're probably not going to listen very long. So I got to be quick. All strategies I've learned doing this for a long period of time to get people to call me back. Good question. What else? Anybody else have some questions for me? Was this useful? Did you guys get something out of it? Was it something that you were able to hopefully pour into yourselves to be able to practice this, to be able to do this? Anybody? I
I have a
need
question,
to.
Brock.
Yes, go ahead, Christian.
Is there any books or resources you recommend to dive deeper on all the disc stuff?
There are different things. I would literally study exactly what you saw, those PowerPoints, like literally memorize them and study them to understand them. And then this is a game that we play. Wendy and I do it all the time. Like we have a little, like one is we play two games. We call pot lid. And that means like we'll be walking around and we'll see a relationship. And I'll say that's a pot lid, meaning that that lid fits perfectly on that pot. Okay. So we'll find relationships that we're walking around because it builds our personality to things to get things very quickly. I'm like, oh, that's a pot lid right there. Ooh, that is not a pot lid right there. I don't know how they're together. Right. Well, just by body language, their mannerisms for what they do, their physical features, but it helps you build that for personality checks. So many times I'll be like, we'll be talking to somebody as well. And I'll be like, what personality was that? What do you think they were? Like, we'll play that game all the time. Well, I'm like, what do you think that waiter is? What do you think that person is? What do you think that guy is? But that's the best way to be able to get, and you guys might think it's crazy, but it's helped me get to the business that I have by talking. I only have to have a short period of conversations. If people just answer the freaking wonderful phone, I probably can only talk to 10 people and get 2 appointments. But it takes me longer because nobody answers their cell phone and you got to come up with text message and it takes a while. But here's the thing. Do it all the time. And if you have nobody to play the game with, do it to yourself. Like, I wonder what personality. I bet they were D. Let me talk to them a little bit more to see. I do it to cashiers all the time. I figure out different things, play with my head because I always want to get better. And so a lot of times those things like help you out because you want to be able to, it might be the smallest little thing, Christian, on what they have on their personality to be able to see, because the S's and the C's, sometimes people get them mixed up. They might be like, oh, that's a C. I'm like, well, I don't know. I bet they're more task oriented. And I like to find the task oriented people because they're a little bit easier, because I could say to them, well, if we do this, this, and this, and if I could sell your house, would that interest you? See, task people are fun. They're a lot easier to convert because all you got to give them is a list. How many of you wish you could wake up every morning and be like, here's your list, go do this, and then you're in your day, right? How many of you are like that? Oh, that's me. That's me. I like that. Those people are the same way. You just got to find them on FSBOs and expireds and talk to them their language. And they'll be like, yeah, you know what? I do need to talk to you because why? I gave you a list and that's what they want, but I can't give a list to a D. So just absorbing and understanding it to every single person that you have opportunities to. Does that help you out, Christian?
Yes, thank you.
Eric, since you do videos too, Eric Thomas does the disc as well. So if you put an Eric Thomas disc, he does a really good presentation on the disc too. He's got a really good thing on a video, but I haven't seen a book that I really read besides that right there, what those 5 pages I gave you. D, it was great. Time to practice. Yes, practice, practice, practice. Do you have examples of your long and short voice messages? I don't really. Nobody's really asked that to me. I guess I can record them. But for example, my long one is hold on, I gotta get myself in mindset mode. How you doing? My name is Brock Zevan. I was just calling about your property. I know the market is shifting a little bit, so I had some questions for your property I'd love to be able to talk to you about. Feel free to give me a call or text at 704-728-1008. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye. So I say that to give them like market shifting. Maybe they don't know it's shifting, or the guy knows a little bit more. I also, the other key ingredient that you might have heard me say is call or text. And then hopefully you'll immediately know. I call it like, I just saw a police officer. It's like I slow down immediately. 704-728-1008. Even though I know they have it on their caller ID, sometimes I don't know if it's a landline because I'm calling homes. I want them to make sure I emphasized on my phone number. Like I slowed down because if they don't know your number, they can't call you. And I always slow down on my name too and make sure my name is slowed. Short ones are very sweet. Hey, I'm calling about your property. My name is Brock. I'm a local real estate agent. I saw that. Not too sure if it is still available. I have some questions for you. Give me a call, 704-728-1008. Thanks so much. Bye. That is sped up because that person's probably not going to listen to it. So it's important to be able to get the important stuff out there. My number, they're going to be like, I already know it's on caller ID. So I just mirror kind of how I think, that I just want to know, like, what does this person want? Most of the time, they don't even listen to it. They just read it as we have voice messages and they just call back. So they might not even know why I'm calling. So you got to be ready for that. I don't know. I saw you call me. What do you want? Oh, gosh. And never try to pretend you can answer questions when you're driving, guys. Like when you're, because you get, they're like, they'll call you back. FSBOs will call you back. They're more prone to call you back than expireds. So they'll be calling you back during the day and you might be driving. Oh my gosh, I make a lot of phone calls. I'm so sorry. I'm not even in my office. Is your home for sale? Is that what it was? Okay, it is. Now, are you a FSBO? Oh, okay, great. How long has it been? How long has it been active? Is it active? Then I go right into my script. Okay, are you co-broken with buyer agents? See, my 4 questions, guys. Know it inside out and backwards because I can go right back into it. Oh, thanks for calling. I'm driving right now. How you doing today, man? Oh, wonderful. Good, good, good. Yeah, I'm got my kids running around. You got any kids? Sometimes I might elaborate a little bit more, depending if I can tell them they're an I. I ask questions so I can figure out their personality and what I need to do. I don't have any kids, man. I got to go to a meeting. Oh, gosh. Okay. So sorry. Listen, I was just calling. Is your house still available? Awesome, man. Are you co-broken? Cool. 3%. Awesome. Now listen, that I don't even know how much is your house worth. What do you got it for? Oh, 350. All right. And you're doing 3%. So if I was able to get you $10,000, would that be something that you'd be interested in talking a little bit more about? I got some time tomorrow at 3 or at 6. I'll go right into it. Got to go right into it because I got to get their objections out to be able to see how I can solve their problems. Anybody else? Good, great questions, guys. Great stuff. Anything else? Nothing? All right. So what I'm going to do here in the chat, if you don't mind, I put in a link, rockzianreview.com. If you guys don't mind doing me a favor in sharing your experience on something that you learned from this, talk about the black belt of personalities that you participated in my webinar, trying to grow my webinar. We talked about, today we talked about steps. And at one point in 3 years from now, I want to have 300 people on my webinar doing this. I will talk about you guys for the rest of my life. This is my first time doing a webinar with this type of strategy with nobody on here. I do Zooms all the time. I do coaching all the time, but this truly was my first webinar type of thing that I've done like this. As you could see, I didn't even know how to do the video and the camera, but I will remember you guys for the rest of my life in the next 5 to 10 years that I take this and perform it and do it at a much higher level. And I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart that you guys were here with me. And at some point, I know that I will have a very large event and I will remember you and you will come free to it when other people are paying $2,500 to come to it. So it is recorded, it is noted, and just know I will remember this because I appreciate those that took their time today to be able to listen to me and to give me this opportunity. I know I'm very good at speaking this and doing this, and I want to share it. And it's not because I'm being arrogant. It's just I've learned because I had to have purpose because I couldn't make any money for my family to survive, to be able to put food on the table with my children if I didn't figure out a way to be able to become an ISA, to be able to produce, to help people and to make money. And so I will remember this day and I want to thank you. And hopefully if you guys see something on here or go to that review and put something on my Google review, so then that way I can share this with other people to be able to build this black belt of personalities, to be able to help you be able to grow and to be able to, I want you guys to be successful in 6 months from now. I want you guys to rock it. All right. Remember, that Arch Agent, that was the other thing I was going to send you guys, the Arch Agent link, so you can have those 30 days free. And feel free to use me as a resource, guys, these next 30 days. All right. I role play. I'm open to role playing. I'm very short and sweet. So don't think I'm rude if I say, like, if I'm not asking you, like, hey, how you doing? What's been going on? Like, when I role play, I jump right in. I say what personality you want to be. That's what it sounds like for my role play. Do you want me this agent first, or do you want me to be a seller? Do you want to be a FISBO, or do you want me expired? Do you want me to be a D, I, S, or C? How long am I on the market for? 2 days, 1 day, 2 weeks? What does this look like? Okay, great. Ready? Go. And Greg is also on there. You saw his phone number. He does a lot of phone calls. Feel free to role play. Guys, you got to role play. Got to role play. All right. It's short. It's sweet. It's not intense. It's just, it helps practice and try to figure out whose personalities people are today. Go walk around, drive around, go to grocery stores. It's pretty fun. I enjoy it. I know I'm a little weird though. Guys, thank you so much. I hope it benefited you. I hope you got something out of it and be able to take your business, practice. I'll get those scripts out to you so you can start to work on it. But remember, you have to make it into your own personality. All right. Thank you, guys. I definitely appreciate your time being on here. And like I said, I look forward to working with you in the future. I did have, what was the thing name? I have to write it down. Oh, if you want to be part of my power players, we're going to be working out. You'll be seeing that coming on soon. It's my mini coaching version. It's the $199 a month. And also on November 17th, I'm going to break down the 2023 business plan on what my coach taught me and what my previous coach taught me. I'm going to be doing that on November 17th. So mark that on your calendars as well. So stay tuned for that on business planning. So guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you all being on here and look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow morning at 8:15 on the mindset call. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you all. Have a great day. We'll see you. Bye.